Ridiculous. CVS manager calls the friggin' police, calls 911, calls the police on a woman trying to use a coupon. It was a coupon for a free incontinence pad or something. I know, so she's an older woman, she's black, and he's like, I can't accept this coupon. Why not? Because it looks fraudulent, but he didn't try to scan the coupon, didn't do anything. You don't call the friggin' police. You know, maybe the coupon isn't real, but the way he handled it was sickening. It's just sickening. Sickening. And why are they calling, they called that guy who called the police on the woman and kid, he didn't feel like she belonged. They called him Pool Patrol Paul, so I assumed his name was Paul, and now they're calling him ID Adam. So why did they change it from Pool Patrol Paul? Yeah, there's no need. I'm glad she filmed him. Good, film him. Be it, and he called her African American. She's like, I'm black. I'm not African. Good, say you're black. And she tried to use a friggin' coupon for, and it said free CVS brand of. I mean, if he doesn't recognize the coupon, but he didn't handle that correctly at all. And of course CVS is apologizing, and he's going to be, this guy's, he's just, they show him, he's shaking, talking on the phone, and oh my God. He calls the police, then tells her, you better get out of here, I just called the police. Unbelievable, over a fucking coupon. Like she says, he's like, I can't accept this. Why not? It looks fraudulent, but you don't know that it's fraudulent. But if you know, like she said, he didn't even try to scan the fucking coupon. Okay? So that's one thing. I'm totally on her side. The other thing in Chicago, the guy was armed. He's not fucking innocent. These protesters should be up in arms over people who get shot by police who are innocent. He was armed, most definitely. Armed with a loaded weapon, armed with whatever. And police do have to make split-second decisions. Alright? If you're armed and they think that you could be reaching for your gun, if it looks like that, you know, this isn't a case where he's not armed and he was reaching for a pen or something like it's happened. He was armed. Alright? He was armed. Like I said, I judge these things on a case-to-case basis. They are not all lumped together. Not even remotely. Right? He was armed. And in the video, it does look like he's reaching for his gun. The fact is, shit happens all the time. You know, police officers have to make split-second decisions. In Weymouth, Massachusetts, yesterday morning, a police officer was killed with his own fucking gun. He confronted a suspect, somebody, Lopez, he was driving erratically, smashed into something, gets out, the police officer goes to confront him, okay? The police officer gets smashed in the head with a rock that they think that he must have had a rock, alright? But again, at this point, the police officer just knows that the guy was driving erratically and smashed into, he's not thinking he's in danger. Police officers risk their lives, put their lives on the line all the time to keep us safe, okay? He was driving erratically, smashed into someone, police were called, this one officer goes, confronts him, gets hit in the head with a rock, and then point-blank range, boom, 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 with his own gun. Cold-blooded murder and just point-blank range, alright? And meanwhile, the guy hadn't killed anybody or anything. He smashed his car into another car and is erratic or whatever. And then they were saying that he randomly shot and killed this 77-year-old woman in her own home. Now my news is saying that authorities don't think it's random. They think she was targeted, alright? But I'm just saying, things happen in a split second. Protests should be for legitimate things. This guy he was armed. Alright? He was armed, and you don't know that he's not reaching for his gun. This isn't a case where he was shot in the back. I just thought they released the video fast, but people are throwing urine at the officers. They're having riots and whatever over somebody who was armed, who was not shot in the back, who in the video turns and you don't know. First of all he's running, second of all he's armed, and he could be reaching for his gun. It happens all the fucking time. Like they're saying, Weymouth, in small, quiet Boston suburb town or whatever, this officer gunned down point blank range with his own gun because the suspect hurled a rock at him. You know? So, you know, things happen all the time. But you should reserve, you know, protests for things that are really, really police wrong. Alright? There's no way these officers could know if that guy was going to take his gun. He certainly wasn't cooperating. He wasn't running and got shot in the back. He had a gun, and it looks like he was reaching for it. And they're going to have all these protests. It's ridiculous. You know? They're putting other people in danger. It's just ridiculous. It's also ridiculous that Trump is just completely denying the findings of his whatever. Alright? I highly doubt that the whoever is investigating this is just making it all up. That they indicted 12 Russians, but they can't force Russia to turn over them. But he's denying. I mean, Trump is like, oh, well, Putin swears up and down that he didn't meddle in the 2016 election. Like, okay, and you trust that he's telling the truth? It's just all so fucked. Alright? I don't have to hate Trump to see through that bullshit. You think Putin's going to confess that he meddled in the elections, Trump? He swears up and down he didn't do it, so you believe him, apparently. I mean, he's also swearing up and down that he had nothing to do with that. The British, where they're you know, those people, the nerve agent. He swears up and down he had nothing to do with that as well, but I mean, they're coming up with all this stuff that the Russians did meddle in the election. You know, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. What else? Oh, 2 toddlers, 2 years old, dangling out a 3rd-story window. Where was the mom? Huh, that's the question. The mom was home at the time. And now the kids are being cared for by relatives. They should be taken away from that mom. Maybe they will be. Who knows? What else? Oh, I talked to Joe about this before, but it's common sense. But I talked to Joe about this, and I've heard it before too. Even though it's instinctual, you can't swerve to avoid to hit an animal. You might not want to hit an animal, but this woman in California, Big Sur or something, she swerved to avoid hitting an animal and went down this huge cliff in her car and somehow survived for a week. She used something and she has brain hemorrhages, but she survived for a week, and hikers found her. But unbelievable that she even survived. We look how high up that cliff is. And how she went over the cliff, she lost control of the car, she swerved to not hit an animal. Joe and I talked about this before. If it comes down to it, you got to hit the animal. You can't risk your life and other people's lives to not hit an animal, as sad as it might make you feel, you know. Of course, if it's a big animal, like a moose or a deer or something, then you can die not swerving, so it's kind of a judgment call. But anyway, she went over the cliff, and it's unbelievable that she survived. Unbelievable. She survived for a week. She managed to find a moss or something. That she got something from her car to use as a hose to get just water from moss, fresh water, and of course she didn't have food. But you don't have to have food. You could survive like almost a month without food. But you can't survive without water. Unbelievable, huh? All this stuff. This stuff's just unbelievable. Model Swanepoel, or Candace Swanepoel. She just had a baby. You know, she's a model, and now of course, she'll probably get rid of. I'm sure she'll get rid of the pregnancy weight, but she just had it. It hasn't even been that long, and she's got the belly still, and some snide trolls or whatever. Like, see, this is why I don't want to ever have kids. Oh, they haven't even given her a chance to lose the friggin' weight. And you see models, and you see these stars, they actually, they get whipped back into shape, and they look exactly the same, even when they've had multiple kids. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because Kate Upton is pregnant now, and after she has her baby, people, stupid, ignorant people will probably say the same thing, Swanepoel fought back. She's like, I carried this, this being inside of me for 9 months, and whatever. You can't expect me to just look the same instantly. The minute it hasn't been any time at all. She hasn't even had a chance to whip her body back into model form. So ridiculous. What else? It's like they're going to protest over what do they think, officers should just never shoot? Never ever. I mean, that's what they seem to think. Again, there's lots of them that I agree with. And I say, yeah, you should protest, whatever. But this clearly is not one of those cases. And yet they're rioting, they're hurling urine at police officers, and the chief is black himself, He's black. And he's saying we can't have another night like last night, what they're doing. They're rioting, whatever, over this police officer shooting. And again, the guy's not innocent. He was fucking armed. And he wasn't running away like the other recent one and was shot in the back. Okay? He was armed, and he was right there, and he could have been reaching for his gun. It happens all the fucking time. Anyway.